Do you like long titles and you just can't lie? Well, you came to the right place, because today we're reviewing Shadow Tactics: Blades of the Shogun, AIKO'S Choice. A standalone expansion to the original Shadow Tactics, a smash hit hardcore tactical stealth game developed by Mimimi Games and released in 2016. Now, the original Shadow Tactics is that rare kind of RTT that I can recommend without reservation to PC master racers and console kiddos alike. Really, I recently took it for a spin on both, and the game has aged like fine sake. It's got an engaging narrative bevied by a diverse cast of wonderfully voice-acted characters, polished yet inventive gameplay mechanics, a sleek UI, well-constructed levels, a charming art style, and a rich score. One small problem. Sake doesn't actually age, apparently, and sake sommeliers suggest consuming it within the year. So why should you get excited for a 6 to 8 hour Shadow Tactics expansion that only features 3 main missions plus some quote interludes and the same cast of characters with the same mechanics and the same engine half a decade later? In other words, why scream for 5-year-old sake? Well, a Game of Sutra article revealed in 2017 that Mimimi Games was borderline bankrupt during the development of Shadow Tactics, and it was only by canceling all DLCs that the single project studio stayed afloat. Thus, AIKO'S Choice is probably an experience that devs wish we could have enjoyed years ago but couldn't deliver due to financial strain and then getting immediately sucked into development of Desperados 3. So I like to think that supporting this expansion now will indicate to Mimimi Games that a fully fledged sequel is an endeavor worthy of their time, but good God, are we getting ahead of ourselves? Because who's to say that AIKO'S Choice is even half good? Well, let's put it under the microscope to see if this is some sake worth sipping. Our story takes place during the timeline of the main game, sneaking in right before Mission 9, and unpacks the past life of, go figure, Aiko, everyone's favorite kunoichi and least favorite geisha. Now, Aiko's former sensei, the cunning spy master Lady Chiyu, has emerged from the shadows to train a new generation of kunoichi for Kage-sama, the main game's antagonist. This revelation rips open emotional scars that Aiko had kept buried beneath her armor, as she too was once a young girl recruited for this life of death. Aiko vows to prevent Lady Chiyu from seeing this plan through, so in other words, Aiko goes psycho. The other side of this expansion's narrative coin is Aiko's lover, Mugen, a gruff, grizzled samurai, and these tears are made of spoilers. And the expansion better fleshes out the extent of their relationship. So it's a solid, if unremarkable plot with few faults, and fans of the first game will feel right at home. Perhaps too at home? I was personally let down by the lack of a new playable character here, which in my opinion is kind of standard to the whole, expansion experience. It's hard to say that AIKO'S Choice really expands on much beyond, well, Aiko. Luckily, the game brings back the original voice actors and the dialogue retains the highs it did 5 years ago. The gameplay in AIKO'S Choice suffers and enjoys the same fate, that is to say it's very much more of the same. For those new to the Shadow Tactics universe, this means that combat can unfold as quickly and loudly or slowly and quietly as you wish. But that's always been a selling point for the real-time tactics genre, right? The ability to advance, or more likely fail, a mission in multiple ways. In Shadow Tactics, this is done through 5 characters, each of which is mechanically balanced yet distinct. For example, the jack-of-all-trades Hayato can do everything decently well. He can kill from distance and in close quarters, he can distract guards and swim like Phelps, but he lacks an X factor. Whereas protagonist Aiko relies heavily on disguise, Takuma on long-range rifle attacks, Yuki on traps, and Mugen on the drums. As far as playability is concerned, it all feels as good and as brutally difficult as it did years ago. And it frankly should. We're dealing with the exact same tech here, which is again a blessing and a curse, because according to the devs, AIKO'S Choice is based on a version of the Unity engine that no longer exists. So you can forget about the quality of life features from Mimimi's most recent Desperados 3, which released last year. Also confusingly, this stanky old Unity they're running means there won't be a console version of AIKO'S Choice coming to the shelves because the code is now incompatible with blah 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 nerd. On to content. Each mission here has a unique flavor of level design, which I account for in my world micrometric. For example, one mission takes place on a series of literal sandboxes, aka islands, so you'll spend a lot of time exploiting guards with your infinite endurance swimmers while compensating for those who are not allowed out of the shallow end. There are shortcuts and secrets scattered about each map too, making repeat playthroughs a rewarding experience, though at $20 for around 8 hours of playtime, I won't call AIKO'S Choice a steal. I don't have much to add about style here, as this is effectively a last-gen experience by design. While the score remains as moving as it once did, the environment environmental textures and character models here have noticeably aged, though not to the point I'd consider them disappointing or distracting. Let's just say that they now look less like Aiko and more like Takuma. So in aggregate, Aiko's Choice earns the following metric scores in a mega score of 3.47 out of 5. For fans of the first, this expansion is a no-brainer. For everyone else, I'd highly recommend checking out the OGST. If that doesn't grab you, you're probably fine to pass on Psycho Aiko, but she will find you. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.